Jai Sri Ram, welcome to Bharat Marg. Welcome Vinay ji. Thank you for joining Bharat Marg. And it's unbelievable. We are going to discuss something big, folks. This is about the breaking news just coming in. Big action on Canada by India. Okay. And how this will put Canadians in big trouble. That's what our question is to Vinay ji. And what this mean to Canada and Canadians is and also India has given a big statement. I will discuss about it a little while. But friends, before going further, please make sure to like the video, comment on the video, share the video with as many people as you can, because only with your support we can reach out to the people. Okay, and thank you for your help which you are already providing. And also, friends, please subscribe the channel if you didn't already, and press on the notification bell to stay connected so that you get intimated as we go live, so that you can ask question, yeah, take part in the conversation. And also we send out one dharmic message every day. You can get it from by sending a WhatsApp to +1 6479 644790, and you and your family can stay connected to the Sanatan Dharma, roots of Sanatan Dharma. And friends, don't forget one thing: with Bharat Marg, now you can get the real Sikh history, the untold. Okay, you got to know. This has a lot to do with Canada and what is the real Sikh history, untold documentary. You can subscribe to our WhatsApp channel and get it. Okay, but Vinay ji, welcome, welcome, welcome. I have question for you, sir. That is India's big action. You can go ahead and just share about it. And my biggest concern is how this is going to deplete Canada and Canadians, who are already struggling.
Correct. So the latest news, what has come out from the Ministry of External Affairs, Mr. Arindam Bagchi actually has released a statement, and also it came out from Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar. So he mentioned that New Delhi is planning to share a dossier of evidence with the Paris-based watchdog FATF, Financial Action Task Force, which oversees the implementation of legal, regulatory, operational measures to combat money laundering and terror financing against Canada for inaction over terror funding. So that is the headline news. All right. So let's look at what is FATF, right? So FATF is basically, it's the Financial Action Task Force, also known by its French name, Group D Action Financière. GAFI is an intergovernmental organization founded in 1989 on the initiative of the G7 to develop policies to combat money laundering and to maintain certain interests, mainly in funding terrorists and terrorist organizations. Okay, so let's talk about which are the countries that are on the black list and the gray list, or whatever you want to call it, right? So the countries that are apparently in the blacklist or high risk jurisdiction are like countries like Korea, Iran, Myanmar, things under like that. And then things and then countries, jurisdictions under increased monitoring. Like these are countries that are basically being monitored by the G7 countries for all kinds of activities, are like countries like Albania, Barbados, Burkina Faso, Croatia, Mali, and Haiti, and Syria, and countries like that. Okay, so there are a bunch of countries in there, and so basically these are the countries that are either on the gray list or the blacklist. Okay, now with the action that India is asking, how does it impact it? So basically what happened was External Affairs Minister was in a press conference just about a day ago, and in reference to the strained Indo-Canada ties, he said more stuff will come out, which means that their Indian government is not stopping at that after the 41 diplomats got expelled. Okay, there is going to be more stuff, and until they see the safety of the diplomats in Canada, and they feel that these diplomats in Canada can act and work safely in a safe environment, up until then, the visa cancellation will continue, because his main contention, that is his meaning the Minister of External Affairs, Dr. Jaishankar's main contention was Canada is unable to provide safety to our diplomats, and that is the reason they are unable to process visas and unable to allow their diplomats, Indian diplomats, to work at the diplomatic offices. So as a result, they've basically canceled visa services. Boom, that's it. So, and what is the what is the reason for this? Canada has decided to side with the terrorists rather than have a healthy, foreign affairs or external affairs with the Indian government. Okay. So basically, a report by the Sunday Guardian has quoted official Indian sources claiming that India will approach the FATF over Canada's inaction against terror funding operations on its soil. Despite New Delhi having shared credible and clinching evidence with Ottawa. Okay, he has selected words, right? Credible and clinching evidence with Ottawa. They've already shared it with them. Despite that, nothing has been done. So now the only course of action for India is to approach this FATF. Okay. And New Delhi is planning to share a dossier of evidence with the Paris-based watchdog, which oversees the implementation of legal, regulatory, operational measures to combat money laundering and terror funding.
I have a couple of questions here. Okay, I want you to elaborate on two things. That is, number one, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, has said we have nothing against Canada or Canadians. It is about the terror appeasing current dispensation we have the problem. When he was asked when it will be restored. Number two, he said, "Oh, you have cancelled the visa processing, and millions of people are struggling." As Prime Minister Trudeau said, he said, "No, we are ready to open even today if Canada is ready to provide safety and security and behave as a responsible country for towards our diplomats." Okay.
Exactly.
Number three, my question to you is, you said that they are approaching the watchdog. Let us assume they put Canada, after this evidence, into gray list, whatever the list that is. How does it affect as a average Canadian? What does it mean to me? Yes, sir.
Okay, you got to understand that the countries that are on the FATF list. I already gave you a list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are the countries that are not the Anglo countries, the developed countries, so-called developed countries, you don't see those on the list, right? So the ones that you see on the list are mainly countries that are basically have been funding terrorists, there have been terrorist issues in them. Terrorism has been going on, like Syria, Iran, Myanmar, and so many other countries, right? Now, if Canada is added to that list, look at the reputation of Canada. I mean, like, you know what? Today itself, like, based on their foreign affairs, the way they're dealing with the terrorist organizations, like, three major things happened back to back in Canada just recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the Prime Minister of Canada accused the Indian government of, they said that they have credible evidence against India, that India was involved in the killing of this plumber Niger, okay, and who's a well-known terrorist, a wanted terrorist in India. All right. Number two, they have not been able to, sorry, added to the same number one, they have not been able to provide those credible evidence. Like nothing concrete evidence has not been provided to India. Even Melanie Jolie just yesterday was in a press conference, and in the press conference, the journalist kept asking the lady, like, please tell me, like, where is this evidence? Have you provided the evidence? And she kept saying, oh, in the past, we gave the evidence and
Sorry.
India did not do anything about it. And that's the reason we had to.
You know what? Please hold on. Please hold on. Vinayji, I want to hold you here. You have to follow certain standard. Okay? Yeah. They are used for answering like this in the parliament. What do you expect differently from them? You ask them one question, they will answer
No, but this was a press
whatever.
conference. This was not
So
even
what? They
parliament.
have done that all along in the parliament like the same way. You ask them about banana, they will answer about apple.
100%. So she kept saying that, oh, we have provided the evidence in the past. And the journalist said, no, no, no. What new evidence have you provided? Oh, we provided the evidence way back. I mean, like, come on. The guy kept repeating his question 3 4 times, and then finally, I think he got frustrated because she stuck to her stance, and she finally said, I think I have answered your question. That's what she said. And the guy just had no, and they moved on to another person, right? So the problem is, what is the new evidence that they've provided that has come out of the investigation after Mr. Trudeau announced this in the parliament? So number one, that's number one. Number two, they brought in a Nazi into the parliament and welcomed him, gave him a standing ovation. Okay. And this is crazy what has happened, right?
This is after vetting done by the 5i at 6 years.
Exactly. And the funny thing was, they keep saying we have 5i and all that, but where's the 5i? Didn't the 5i give them some clue about who this man they're bringing into the parliament was, that he's an ex-Nazi? They know more about a plumber, an ordinary plumber, than what they know about through 5i's. That's what they claim. And now they're saying that they know more about they have no idea, they did not have any idea about this Nazi guy who came into the parliament, who was invited and was given a standing ovation. They only came to know after the fact. Okay. And now the third thing that Mr. Trudeau is saying is, the visa issue, the is and releasing the, rather expelling the diplomats is in violation of the Vienna Convention. Okay, and that is also a boo boo. Okay, let me give you a very clear definition of what the Vienna Convention, Article 11.1 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations states, in the absence of specific agreement as to the size of the mission, the receiving state, which is the hosting country, may require that the size of a mission be kept within limits considered by it to be reasonable and normal, having regard to circumstances and conditions in the receiving state and to the needs of the particular mission. That's it. So, what does it mean? That this basically gives a country, a hosting country, the freedom to dictate how many people you can have in your mission. Whether you're going to have 21 or 41 or 61 or whatever, it is the hosting country that actually determines that. Unfortunately, I was very disappointed when United Kingdom and United States released a press statement saying that, oh, India has violated the Vienna Convention and stuff like that. Guys, you got to do your homework. I'm an ordinary guy. I'm like, if I have done my homework coming into the show, like, you guys have to do some homework as well, right? So this is the
Absolutely.
unfortunate part.
Absolutely. And they have pulled their diplomats from different war zones and etc., where it was difficult for them to have the diplomats, where their diplomats' life was under threat in the past,
Exactly.
from Libya. And you see here, this is what we are talking about. Trudeau's Canada, New Pakistan, hate and terror. You know,
Yeah.
that's what
You just showed Mr. Pannu's picture there,
Mhm.
the so-called SFJ chief. Okay, I don't know if you saw this particular video just that came out, I think about 3 4 days ago, maybe a week ago.
Mhm.
So the government of India has already said that this man Pannu is funded by ISI, okay, Pakistan's ISI, and he is basically the SFJ is funded by ISI, in which means that Khalistan, all the the whole organization is funded by ISI, the Pakistan elements, right? And I've been telling you this quite often in your show. Okay. Now what I'm trying to say is, just 4 days ago, Pannu released a video. 4 or 5 days ago, I'm not exactly sure exactly when it came out. And he's actually not talking about Khalistan anymore. Okay. In this new video, he's promoting what is called as Urdistan. Okay. He is saying that all the Muslim brothers, my Muslim brothers and sisters in India, you got to wake up and you got to fight for your rights to create what is called as Urdistan in India. Separate India, break it down into Urdistan. And this was his, thing. So who is promoting them and who is kind of encouraging him to do
But
all of
but
this?
let me ask you a question on that, okay? So now you saw the poster I was sharing here, kill Modi. Yeah, I'm sure you see this,
Yeah,
okay? See here, this is about the consulates, and this is about you see Modi Jaishankar's picture
yeah.
here, okay? If it is done against Biden or Netanyahu, will they be quiet like this? Or French Prime Minister, or
Exactly. That is the
or
question
they
which
are okay just because they don't have a white skin? What is their
no,
syndrome?
no. See, the thing is, when you look at an organization called Five Eyes, okay, it is a totally racist organization. Okay, look at the countries that are in the Five Eyes: United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. What are these countries? All Anglo-Saxon, English-speaking, white-dominated, Caucasian countries. Okay. Why is there no other country? Why is France not in there? Although it's a white country, but it's French.
They try to, latest news that came in G20. These guys were so much against bringing Africa inside because they didn't want to give them a equal footing.
Exactly.
And
So
on Modi's
this is
pressure,
this is what is happening. I mean, like, and they kind of say that United Nations, the permanent seat in the Security Council is held by five countries, right? Um, you know, um, United States, United Kingdom, Russia, France, and China. Okay, so now the thing is, they kind of made it look diverse because they brought in China and Russia in there, but the majority of this thing is controlled by the veto power. Okay, what's the veto power? Veto power is 3 versus 2, right? In the Security Council, you have Security Council has 5 members. If 3 versus 2 votes, that's a vote, right?
yeah.
And who are the three countries? Again, Anglo-Saxon, and white dominated.
But their five eye, we know that because on the day of Gaza hospital parking lot attack that killed 50 to 100 people and promoted as killing thousands of people, Justin Trudeau squarely blamed Israel for it. He and his foreign minister Jolie, they blamed Israel, and
Immediately,
and
like
now
they
he
didn't even
backtracked,
think.
and for that he got booed in the mosque.
Yeah, they didn't even think. So they kind of immediately he was first to accuse Israel of this wrongdoing.
And his tweet is still on. He didn't take it out.
Yeah, and then immediately they kind of realize, oh my God, this is not Israel. This was done by the Palestinians by accident or whatever it is, but definitely not perpetrated by Israel. So the thing is, end of the day, coming back to your primary fundamental question about FATF, right? The Indian government's action, what they're going to be taking, approaching the FATF, is a huge blow to the Canadian government, and it's a huge setback for Canada. Because if for God forbid, I'll say, just in favor of Canada, just in case FATF decided to add Canada to this gray list or blacklist or whatever, imagine the amount of issues that we are going to have with our travel issues and embargo issues and so many other stuff.
And I was told the interest rate will hijack. It's already high. When you go into the gray list, etc., the interest rate skyrockets.
Yeah, because the thing is, okay, hear me out. All right. The moment you're added to this list, FATF list, what does that mean? Basically, you are funding terrorists. And they're not saying that some organizations in Canada are funding. They'll say the country is funding terrorists. Okay. Canada is a money laundering country, terrorist funding country, haven for terrorists. And I'm not quoting this myself. Okay. I will give you a quote from the United States Department of State Money Laundering Assessment, which is called INCSR. Okay, and this was published in this particular website and INCSR website, and it basically says Canada is categorized by the United States State Department as a country / jurisdiction of primary concern in respect of money laundering and financial crimes. So Canada is already under the radar, okay, of United States Department of State. Okay.
Wow.
US Department of State Money Laundering Assessment, it's not a small organization. Okay. So Canada was already categorized by this particular department as a jurisdiction or country of primary concern in respect of money laundering and financial crimes. What more do you want? Okay.
So
what they're saying is Canada has made progress in addressing money laundering deficiency. Canada is working towards addressing remaining deficient areas, including virtual currencies, beneficial ownership, customer due diligence, and information sharing, with additional budget allocations and strengthened interagency cooperation. So there are no internal sanctions currently in force against this country. So that's basically what it says. And so basically, this is Canada, since it's already there on this particular under the radar. Now, if India makes it and complains to FATF, and Canada gets added on the FATF list of countries, then guess what? The trading partners of Canada, we are going to be extremely cautious about trading with Canada, because now they're going to say, hey, this country does money laundering, they do terror funding, so we got to be cautious. So we are not going to trade with Canada. And then so many other things can impact Canada. I mean, look at all the embargoes, trade embargoes that is going on at Cuba, Myanmar, Iran, Syria, so many things. Now, many of these countries who are on this gray list and blacklist, they're fully dependent on aid from other countries. They're basically going with begging bowls like Pakistan and saying, hey guys, please help us. We are in trouble, so help us out. This is basically what's going to happen to Canada.
Wow.
God forbid if
hopefully people will boot them out, and hopefully things will restore to normal. But again, I'll be honest with you. This is a definitely a discussion for other day. Okay, no matter who comes, friends, if the Hindus doesn't rise, nobody will take your voice. That's for sure. We have to raise our voice, and then only the politicians will talk. Okay, otherwise, just no matter who comes. Okay, but anyway, thank you very much, Vinay ji, for joining us, and appreciate you coming and sharing your wisdom. That means a lot, and looking forward to talking to you very, very soon in the other video. Till then, Jai Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram.
Jai Sri Ram. Thank you.